Is that a shot at Shedeur? Is that why the Raiders didn't take Shedeur? Brady had been mentoring Shedeur. Shedeur would have taken that gold chain off and the whole watch deal would have never happened. It was all a scam.
Analyst pointed on Shedeur for his gesture that he must stay humble. There are many things why Raiders passed not once, but again, even after round one. Because let's be honest, they had windows. The clock was there, the board was there, and they still said no. So what was louder in that room? Football conviction or fear of the storm that follows the Sanders name? Here's where the debate explodes. Tom Brady says he judges quarterbacks by what happens after 6 points. Do you find your big boys and celebrate as a unit? Or do you lock eyes with the lens and hit a signature? He calls the solo stuff self-promotional, says the team stampede is more intimidating. He didn't say a name, but the internet heard one. And suddenly, every Shedeur touchdown becomes a test. Are you feeding the huddle or feeding the clip? Now fold in the mentorship talk. If Brady had truly been mentoring Shedeur, the critics say, the chain comes off, the watch never becomes a headline. The whole optics saga, gone. They call it a scam. A photo op, not a pipeline. And they go further. If that mentor-mentee bond actually existed, Shedeur would have aced every interview. No doubt, no hesitation, straight A's in 20 minutes. That's the accusation.
Because I think that's way more intimidating than a quarterback doing his 6-shooter guns and pointing up in the crowd and doing all that other bullshit that's very self-promotional. Quarterbacks throws a touchdown pass. I actually watch to see who he goes and celebrates with. Because what did I do? I looked for my offensive lineman every time. I went down and celebrated in the end zone with my teammates every time.
That's the line. And whether you love it or hate it, it cuts right to the heart of what a quarterback is supposed to be. Not the arm, not the stat line, the center of a tribe. So let's talk about it. Touchdowns used to end with helmets colliding and 5 giant men getting bear hugs. Now, sometimes they end with a pose, a stare, a signature meant for a million screens. Old school hears that and says, team first, camera second. New school fires back, the camera grows the team. 2 worlds, 1 end zone. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Both sides are right. Football is a we sport. Your life depends on the 5 in front of you. If they don't feel seen, you won't feel clean in the pocket, ever. But this is also the era of moments. A look, a flick, a tiny slice of swagger becomes the clip that recruits the next generation of fans. Pretending that doesn't matter is naive. Pretending it's everything is reckless. So what do you do if you're the quarterback everyone's watching? If your name is constantly dragged into this debate, even when it wasn't mentioned? You sequence it. You sprint to the lineman first. That's oxygen for the room. Then, when the tribe has eaten, you stamp the moment.
Peyton Manning, seeing him in front of a camera, hearing them talk, it does no justice because they have to put on a certain facade. They have to mask who they truly are, the fun side, the authentic Tom Brady and Peyton Manning.
Do you want a quarterback who wins the podium or wins 3rd and 7? Watching Tom Brady or Peyton Manning at the mic tells you nothing. On camera is a facade. The truth lives in the huddle. The podium clips do them no justice. On camera, you wear a facade. Brand-safe answers, polished smiles. The truth lives in the huddle. That's where a quarterback's voice cuts through chaos. Where protection IDs and hot reads save the drive. Where you sprint to your lineman after 6 before any signature hits the feed. And that's the standard Shedeur is judged by. Not the pressers, the answers under pressure. So choose your metric, podium perfection or huddle authority. I'll take the voice that wins 3rd and 7. If you're here for Shedeur Sanders, hit subscribe and like the video. And drop SS 100% in the comments. Teams don't just pick players, they pick stories. Every draft room is a tug of war between what the film says, what the timeline demands, and what the building can handle. You know the checklist. Arm talent, processing, pocket movement, protections, leadership. But there's a 6th item most fans never see. Narrative load. How heavy will this story be on day 1? Does it magnetize the locker room or distract it? Does it sell jerseys and still sell the huddle? When a legend draws a line in the sand, celebrate with your linemen. The team stampede is more intimidating than the 6-shooter stuff. Front offices hear that. Coaches hear it. Players hear it. He didn't say a name, but the entire football internet immediately supplied one. That's how narratives behave. They rush to fill any blank with the loudest name available. And right now, that name is Shedeur Sanders. Fairness matters. Passing once can be restraint. Passing twice is a statement. Maybe Vegas said, not our build. Maybe they said, not our timeline. Or maybe they looked at the spotlight that trails Shedeur and thought, we're not signing up for a story we can't control. That's not automatically hate. That's a bet. And the only way you break that bet is the same way every doubter has ever been broken. Tape that forces belief. The critics didn't stop there. They went after the mentorship narrative too. If Brady really had been mentoring Shedeur, they argue, the chain would have come off, the watch would have never been a headline, and the whole optics saga would have died before it was born. They call it a scam, a photo op, not a pipeline. And they go further. If that bond truly existed, Shedeur would have walked into every pre-draft room and aced the interview process. No hesitation, no doubt, just straight A's. That accusation stings because it doesn't just question a quote, it questions habits. Real mentorship is not a selfie, it's standards. It's how you sit in the chair, how you light up a whiteboard, how you talk we before me. It's cadence discipline, hot answers, protection IDs, unsexy mastery that doesn't trend but wins. If a goat is truly in your ear, it shows up in the details no camera loves. The quick protection flip when the nickel threatens. The eyes that move a safety just enough to buy a lane. The urgency in the huddle that says, I've got you, to a tackle who just got beat.
Tom Brady taking a shot at Shedeur Sanders, and is that why the Las Vegas Raiders passed on him more than once? Brady's on-record standard, told to Chris Collinsworth, is clear. A team stampede to the end zone is way more intimidating than a quarterback doing six-shooter guns. He watches who the quarterback celebrates with, and, in his own words, he always sprinted to his offensive linemen, so everyone felt part of the success. He never said Shedeur's name, but fans heard it anyway, turning every Shedeur touchdown into a referendum. Feed the huddle, or feed the camera. Add the mentorship chatter. If Brady truly mentored Shedeur, critics say the chain and watch wouldn't have become headlines, and he would have aced every interview. And the debate gets louder. But jewelry never missed a hot read. The league drafts process, not a wrist. Real mentorship shows up in habits, protection IDs, hot answers, cadence, pocket discipline, and dapping the big boys before stamping the moment so the brand becomes punctuation, not the paragraph. Even the polished podium act we associate with Brady, or Peyton Manning, is a facade compared to the truth of the huddle, where a QB's voice bends chaos, fixes protections, and wins 3rd and 7. Maybe the Raiders' passes were about fit and timeline. Maybe they were about narrative load. Either way, the 2025 standard is simple. Win the rep, win the room, then win the feed. Sequence the swagger. Do that, and even old-school purists nod, because in this league, swagger without tape is vanity, and swagger on top of tape is legacy, and only Shedeur Sanders gets to decide which story he writes next. So where does this leave Shedeur Sanders? Exactly where he's always been. In the spotlight, in the crossfire, in the debate. Some will insist he's all brand, no discipline. Others will point to his accuracy, his composure, his mastery of situational football, and say, this is the future, like it or not. Both sides will argue. Both sides will post. But the next 3rd and 7 will answer louder than any quote, chain, or watch ever could. Because in this league, swagger without tape is vanity. Swagger on top of tape is legacy. And the only person who decides which story Shedeur Sanders writes, Shedeur Sanders himself. If you like this video, and then comment real things so you boy Shedeur gets some chance to play.